Welcome, everyone, to a lovely Friday. Indeed, it is lovely. What are we talking about today? A watched pot never boils. We've heard that saying how many years now? Many years. A watched pot never boils. What does it mean? It means if you, like literally speaking, you're standing there and you've turned the burner on and the water is on the stove and you're waiting for it to boil. And it seems like it takes forever. Do you know why that is? Because you are looking at that water and asking it, hurry up. Are you done yet? Hurry up. I really want to drink my tea. I'm ready to make my tea. I don't have it. Mm. And this is why the perception is that time is dragging on. But if you are otherwise occupied and leaving the water there, one of two things will happen. You'll become so engrossed in what you're doing, you forget the water until you hear it. Because you're so caught up in what you're doing. So, what is the moral here? The moral of the story is when you are creating something, you do not wait for it to show up. You don't look at your watch, you don't tap your foot, you don't ask the question, is it here yet? Are we there yet? Is it done? Why is it taking so long? Well, where's your attention? Your attention is squarely upon not doing something, not having it. That's where your attention is. You don't have it. It's not there. It's not ready yet. Barry, drop me a note and I'll respond in a minute. But that's the point. If you keep watching the situation, you are keenly aware of not having it. And where is that energy now? Where are you polarized? You are polarized in the direction, meaning, where are you now? What are you doing? I'm right here, right now, and I don't have any tea because the water's not boiled. It's taking too long. So you are squarely polarized on what you are not experiencing. And wherever your attention is, that is what expands. So, how do you change? Well, you go about and you do something else. It doesn't mean you're ignoring the pond. You know what? So long as you have turned the burner on or plug the kettle in and pop the switch, you are well aware that that water will boil. That is what you know for a fact. So long as the energy is underneath that pot of water, it is inevitable that it boil. And it doesn't matter if it's on two, it's just going to take longer on two. It doesn't matter if it's on eight, you know that's going to be a short wait. Yes, but the point of the matter is you have the burner on underneath the pot. It is inevitable that you will have your tea or you're boiling your eggs, whatever way you want to look at it. So, do you have to stand there and watch and be agitated that you don't have it? No, you sure don't. Why not? Because you have already applied your undivided attention to it. How so? You've turned the burner on. Now, here's the beautiful part. We know that that stove is plugged in, yes? Or perhaps you have gas, a gas stove, right? But either way, it is hooked up to a source of power. What happens to it when you turn it on? You tap into the power, do you not? So then what happens? You don't know how that electricity flows down the wire. You don't know what causes it to do that. You do know that because the burner is on, that is the effect. So there is a cause. Same for the gas stove. The gas, you turn it on, You turn it on and you hear, and then it starts, it ignites. So, do you not have what it is you want? But here's what we do, we turn on that kettle. We turn on the kettle and we say, but my word, that sure is taking a long time. I'm so hungry. Ugh, is it done now? And because we are in a hurry, what do? Oh, my son knows all too well what happens when Mummy's in a hurry and turns up the heat. It gets burnt. That's what being anxious about what it is you put there will do to it. We don't know how that electricity or that gas flows. We don't know. We just know that we turn it on and it's there. But bring in the specialist. Bring in the master electrician. And he'll know how to troubleshoot any problem you've got by applying what? The law. Your master electrician knows that electricity flows in a particular direction. He also knows, or she also knows, that the electricity must be grounded. It has to have a firm connection so that what? It can flow. It is anchored and it can flow. So every time your master electrician goes somewhere and has to deal with an electrical problem, a boiler, a garage door that doesn't work, this, that, or the other, they always apply the same law every time. They know how to see the effect. If this particular thing is not happening, they know how to trace and follow to find the cause. And if they've applied the cause and are not getting the desired effect, well, they know how to go back to that cause and fix it. Just so you can have electricity. We call it troubleshooting, don't we? But you see, a watched pot takes a really long time. It is perceived to take a really long time because you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're saying, I don't have it. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing. So, how do we get through that? How am I gonna get through? We get through it by recognizing one, did you give it some attention? What kind of attention did you give it? You turned on the power source. You applied the law to it. Well, then, if you want to put your attention on that pot of water that you're boiling or the rice that you're cooking, what are you going to do with that water? So, taste. Begin to taste the tea that you're making. What kind of tea? Is it a peppermint tea? If you find that you're angry all the time, have some peppermint tea. If you find that you're sighing all the time, have some peppermint tea. It will soothe the liver. Oh, it will unblock the liver's chi, and you'll stop sighing and you'll be more relaxed and at ease. That's your tidbit. So now, begin to smell the tea. Begin to taste the tea. If you're boiling eggs, soft boiled, oh, begin to dip the toast in the yolk of the egg as you prepare the table for breakfast. You set the mugs out with the tea bags. You get the splash of honey, raw honey, straight from the farmer and his bees. Oh, yes, indeed. Begin to do that. Next thing you know, you hear that kettle whistle, and it's ready. And you go, wow, that was so quick. Was it quick or did it take the same amount of time? Your attention was somewhere else. Your attention was preparing. Your attention was on the preparation of that tea. You set out the honey and the tea bags. Why? Because that is your favorite tea. And how does your favorite tea make you feel? Yes, it is soothing to you. It's exciting. You say, this is so nice. This is my favorite. And you get all warm and fuzzy inside. And maybe you begin to whistle while you're working. Who knows? But you are fully engaged in the use of that tea. Why? Because you have the tea. That's what you're doing. So when you're speaking to yourself and living from the end, you're planning the use of the tea already. You are fully experiencing the use of that tea. How do you know you're experiencing it? The way your body talks to you. Oh, yes. Just like if you are, now the pizza man hasn't delivered it yet, but it's your favorite type of pizza, your favorite flavor. Do you know where digestion begins? Yes, the brain, but what does it do? Why does it start in the brain? Because the universe is a mental creation. The moment you have put that slice of imaginary pizza on your tongue and you say, mmm, pepperoni with extra cheese, maybe you're Hawaiian. And you like pineapple on it, but you can taste it. And do you know salivary amylase? The enzyme in your mouth that breaks down carbohydrates begins to be secreted. Did you bite the pizza yet? Nope, not yet. But your anticipation, your excitement of tasting and reveling in just the scrumptiousness of that pizza causes the salivary amylase to secrete. So your body is telling you, doesn't that pizza taste great? Why? Because you told your body, this is how we do it. That's what you told your body. Oh, this is my favorite pizza. I love it. And because you were so excited about it, salivary amylase. And then ding dong, there's the pizza man. And you don't even, listen, you don't even wait long enough. You bite into that and you're like, it's hot. Suck blow. That's what you're doing to cool it down. And the salivary amylase is already at work. So the moral again is you are creating something, are you not? You're boiling the water to do something with it, so you're creating something. What did you do? You said, oh, I'd like to have me some tea. That's what you said. And so what did you do? You went and you got the kettle and you filled it up. And you plugged it in and you popped the switch. That is what you did. Did you want tea or did you make tea? Did you want the tea or did you make it? If you're like me and your son says, oh, Mom, I really feel like having some tea, that's his way of saying, Mom, can you make me some tea, please? So somebody makes it, somebody creates it. And that's usually you. The pizza man, he's picking it up for you. But the chef on the other end, somebody is creating it for you based upon your what? Based upon your desire. So you're not standing there idly watching this pot at random. You put the pot there based upon your desire. And you put it there based upon your desire because that is what you want to experience. That is what you are creating. So is it happening or is it not? It is happening. The moment you had the thought of, ooh, I would love some tea. The moment you had the thought, your body got up, got the kettle, filled it with water, plugged it in, and popped the switch. You turned around and got your mug ready with all the fixins. That's what you did. So do you have tea or not? And you say, oh my goodness, that's my last tea bag. What do? Write it on the list. So that you can do what? Go out and do it. Go out and get it. That is how we live our lives. That is how we create. It starts with knowing what it is that you want. Because once you know and define what it is that you want, it is done. You know this as well as I. You know this as well as I do. If you walk outside to the grocery store and you smell fresh baked bread, something happens to you. You begin to reminisce. I know I do. My great grandfather was a baker. Oh, and everybody came from far and wide to buy his loaves of bread. Nobody left with one loaf. Somebody would always leave with many loaves, many jam puffs, many turnovers, many rock cakes. Oh, yes, indeed. Why? Because it is the smell that triggers what? The sensation in your body that tells you, oh, isn't that tasty? And so then you make it happen. So, what am I telling you this morning? I'm telling you this morning that the desire, which is the pot, hmm? The one you put on the stove, it's not green, it's usually stainless steel or a copper bottomed pot. You put it on the stove. That is your desire. That is your desire. And you put that there based upon how the desire makes you feel in your body. You act according to the thought and the sensation. When those two things match, you act. So if today you are creating something, take a moment and step back and ask yourself, how does that thing make me feel? You don't even have to ask. Pay attention and you'll see. You'll feel it. Oh, indeed. When you say, oh, I'm making this, it makes you feel a particular way. And then you act according to that feeling. But if you are creating something and you say, I can't do this. I've been trying for so many years and it never happens. See that sensation in your body? That sensation in your body is what will cause you to act. And then where are you acting from? You're acting from the fear of non-fulfillment. You're acting from the fear of failure. You're acting from the fear of, and then what is the outcome? Well, it's not going to surprise you. You will get the outcome of that sensation. You will not get the outcome of what it is you want. Why not? Because the thing that you want to create has shown you by way of its sensation in your body of how it feels what the outcome is. That's why. That's why you can't quote unquote lie to yourself. Because the image you hold has a matching or corresponding sensation. So if you're standing there watching that pot, oh God, and you see the little bubbles start to appear, just the little teeny tiny ones start to appear in the bottom, and you say, God, that's taking so long. You are keenly aware of, oh, I don't have my tea. I'm not sipping on my tea. But what if you turned on that electricity or the gas under your kettle, under your pot, and you skipped over and you got your favorite mug? This is why Neville Goddard says to fully immerse yourself in the feeling. That's why he says it, because it is the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence. As within, so without, as above, so below. You know what I'm talking about. You get a particular thought in your head. Well, the other brain works, fellas. As above, so below. If the brain is alert and erect, well, then so is that. You don't need magic to figure that part out because it is law. It is showing you keenly where your attention is. That is what it's showing you. So if you put your attention squarely upon the excitement and you immerse yourself in that feeling, because that feeling is going to cause you to act. And that's why Neville says, don't just watch it happening. Don't watch somebody drive the car you want. Not in your imagination. He's telling you, get in that car and drive it in your mind. Why? Because the image now of the car has you in it driving it. And when you project that image out, that's what has to come back. You driving the car. But if it's just the car, remember, the car is inanimate. It is you who gives it life. By doing what? Getting in, breathing life into the car. That's what you're doing when you immerse yourself in the feeling and you live from that feeling because you're doing the actions as if you already had it. Because in your mind, just like the potter creating that vase, you already have it. And so when you get in that car in your imagination, and this is why you can, if your sense of smell, olfactory, is really keen, you'll smell that new car smell. But what if your touch? You'll feel the steering wheel in your palms. Now, if you're a stick shift, you'll pop the clutch in and you'll feel. You'll feel. Right. Yes. But what if you hear? Oh, then you begin to hear the rhythm of the engine so that you know when to put the clutch in and change gears. Indeed. Or you know that person down the street will be peeking out their window at you. Oh, there she goes again with a brand new car. Where did she find all this money? How is she so lucky? You know, all of us have one of those neighbors. If that is what is going through your mind and your body is responding in confirmation, in correspondence, well, then the action will come out of there. We call it what? Inspired action. Why? You'll get a desire to do something, go somewhere, call somebody. Next thing you know, you got a brand new car. And you're like, wait, what? How did this happen? Because you were already driving the car. You weren't standing there looking at your watch and tapping your foot saying, I really hate waiting for the bus. That's not what you did. You weren't keenly aware of not having the car. You were fully engaged in the interaction with the car already. And you know as well as I do how mirror neurons work. Mirror neurons tell you you might not be driving that car right now, but if you are observing yourself doing it or observing somebody else doing it, and you are allowing that response to emerge in your body and, fully take you over, you get lost in it. Lost in emotion. You get lost in it. Why? Because you're living it. Neville Goddard says, you are so fully immersed in it that when you open your eyes, you're like, what? I'm not there. That's right. That's how come he could walk the streets of wherever he was and be in Barbados. That's why. You are already in Barbados. Not because you're pretending. But because being there, I will say, being home makes you feel a particular way. You know, if you go in mango season and you go to the beach and a Rasta man brings you mangoes, well, bite them and dip the mango in the ocean, in the salt water, and then take your bite of it. Oh, that's the life right there. So you're not waiting for something to happen. Your body takes its cue from you. Oh, Lord. Your body takes its cue from you. Rick. Sorry. Your body is taking its cue from you. You are telling it what to do. You are telling your body what to do. And you're giving it an image, you're giving it a picture. And when you give it that picture, whether you generate that picture with eyes, ears, nose, mouth, skin, whatever sense that you have that you use to generate that picture, it will either confirm or contradict the image. You want it to correspond because it is when the image and the sensation in your body correspond, then is when you will act in your best interest. But if the image and the body sensation contradict one another, the one that is stronger, which is always going to be the way you feel, the way you make me feel, that one, that's going to win. And that's what you'll get. So if that sensation in your body is trepidation, well, then you know what you're going to get. You can't be surprised because there are no surprises. Let us take a moment. Good Lord, it's almost been a half an hour. Watch spot never boils. I'm not watching the time, but I just looked and I was like, oh snap. It's that time, is it? It's time to welcome everybody into the space on this fabulous Friday. Jeff, darling. Muck 45. Hello, Gek. I see you. Gek, does Twitter have a translate button? Because sometimes you don't write in English. And I have no idea what you're saying. Right? But anyhow, let a girl know. Welcome, Twitter. I see you and I love you. I know Cuddles will catch the replay. Who's here on Fanbase? Summer Rose. KZ. Hello, Night. L. Miss McQueen. Flo. Smiles. Yolanda. Zola. I see you all here. Thank you for being here on Fanbase. This lovely morning, isn't it though? It is. Are you watching the morning sunrise? Oh, you notice how it's later? Just an observation. Who's here on YouTube and Facebook? Okay, Indies and Facebook. Who is on YouTube in the chat? Hello, Queen Red Pill. Hello, Anot. David Darling. Goddess Pure Diamond. Fancy seeing you in a place like this. Hello, Cyber. Hey, Wes. Now, Queen Red Pill says, absolutely. Even though I had little sleep last night, my desire was to be part of morning inspiration, and it was stronger than the desire to continue sleeping. She says she's fully awake now. Well, then, there you have it. You see, the desire to change must be stronger than the desire to remain the same. This is how change takes place. Something has to move you, something has to polarize you, which means, well, I just said it, it has to move you. Vibration. The law of vibration tells you that everything moves. So, in order for you to act, you are tired of being tired. And so, what happens to you? The desire to change, something moves you. And vibration, you know, vibration, polarity. So, you're polarized in the new direction of change. And the cause of that vibration brings about the effect. It's beautiful, isn't it? Hello, Denise, darling. Cyber, yes, a Rasta man. That's how you say it in Barbados, huh? David, you know what I'm saying, but Sonia is not here, right? So that's what you say, a Rasta man. Seriously, that's just how you say it. Ah, good morning, Marjorie. Cyber got me here talking nonsense about a Rasta man. Anyway, I digress. Does this make sense to you today? Why a watched pot never boils? Albert Einstein said, if you're talking with a lovely girl, you could be sitting on a hot stove and you don't even feel the heat. But let that girl be ugly. You're going to be like, ugh, can I get out of here now? That's pretty much it, to paraphrase what he says. You don't feel the heat because you're where you want to be. What do they tell you? Time flies when you're having fun. That's what they tell you. Time flies. But for the person who is anxiously waiting, it seems to drag on, does it not? The time is not different between the left person and the right person. It's not. It's still ticking away. But the one who's in a hurry, that's why you always gotta wait, because you're in a hurry. Because that's what it seems like. Every time you're trying to get somewhere, somebody's in my way. Because you in a hurry. Take your time, and you'll get there with plenty of time to spare. There's no rush. That's what I always say. Well, my house isn't moving. What I need the speed for? I could crawl, and I'm going to still make it there because the house isn't moving. I am the one moving. My son says to me, but mother, the planet is moving. So yes, the house is moving because the shadow changes. I'm like, you know what? Hush. I didn't ask you all this. That's what you say. But the one who's in a hurry will catch every red light because you're keenly aware of being late. It is just a matter of changing your perspective, right? That's when you say, you wait till your father gets home. Depends. If you tell that to the child, wait until your father gets home, it seems like 20 minutes and dad's home. But if you say, wait till daddy gets home, oh dear. Seems like it takes a little bit longer, doesn't it? But I digress. I digress. You don't have to rush. You know what daddy says. Rush the brush. You waste the paint. Why? Why? Confucius says, be like nature. She's never in a hurry, yet everything gets done. Everything gets done. And it goes for everything. If you take your time with what you're doing, you will enjoy it more. Except if it's washing dishes, I think. But chewing your food, take your time to chew your food. Now, if you're like me and you like it hot, not spicy, hot as in temperature, straight from the pot. I don't like cold food. So I eat it quick. But I've learned to enjoy cold food because you have to serve the young whippersnapper before I eat. By the time I get to mine, it's cold. So I'm like, whatever. I've just resolved to doing that now. Take your time to chew your food. Savor every bite of it. Savor every bite of your food. Take your time to enjoy it. There's a purpose to that. One, it brings you pleasure. Two, you're not fretting and getting worked up about something else. The way you chew and eat your food and feel about your food. Now, here's the beautiful part of science. But Neville already told us because Abdullah, he said, oh, what are you eating? Abdullah ate and drank whatever he wanted. And he told Neville, you see, you complain too much about food. That's why you got so many problems with food. You look at food, oh, I can't eat that. That'll go straight to my hips. Me, I look at it and go, is it there yet? Is it on my hips yet? Right? Eat the food and enjoy it. Why? Because science is telling us, based upon your opinion of that food, remember you remember the law of correspondence. If you have a particular perception of a dish or whatever that food is, that dish is, your body responds in kind to how that image is represented, the way you have it associated. So, Ayapo just got here, so we're going to talk about brownies. If you love the brownies and you savor every bite of the brownie, you know, especially if it's got melted chocolate chunks in it. Oh, right. If you do that, do you know digestion goes real well? Oh, yes, indeed. Marjorie knows this firsthand because she told us. She said, well, I can't have cheese. But then what did she say? She goes, no, no, wait a minute. I'm going to enjoy this cheese. Marjorie enjoyed the cheese, and so did her body. Your body takes its cue from you. So if you eat to comfort yourself, hmm, what is the motivation to eat? Sadness. But if the motivation to eat is, ooh, can you smell what the rock is cooking? Yes. It's tasty, isn't it? And you enjoy it. Well, then your body will respond in kind. You know this as well as I do because you eat, don't you? Yes, you do. Stop judging what you eat. Mind you, what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. You don't know why I might not like certain things, and you will probably never understand why I love okra slush. Slush not to be confused with the sweet confection from the 7-Eleven, because that would be nasty. Okras are slippery when you cook them. They're very, very tasty. That's why we make cuckoo with them. Mix it with cornmeal. It is a skill, and it is the most tasty dish you've ever had. Now they're telling you that okra is good for cancer. I'm like, dude, I grew up eating okras. You ain't gonna stop me now. Same for soursop. I grew up eating the flesh of the soursop. Most people don't know what soursop is. But what are they telling you now? Soursop leaves and the tea is good for cancer. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, dude, I just grew up eating the soursop because it was tasty. Same for coconut water because it was tasty. No, I lie. You could not put coconut water in anything. Nope. You put it in there, I would not drink it because it changed the flavor of things. To me, at least. But now, I enjoy coconut water. And you'll know you're in Barbados when you pull up on the side of the road and there's a Rasta man cutting the top off the coconut, and he'll probably charge you $5, Bajan dollars. I don't know how much it is nowadays, but that'll be the best coconut water you'll ever have. So what's the point to that story? Your body takes its cue from you. Now, if you have anaphylaxis, don't be foolish. Don't go eating nuts. Okay? Still walk with your EpiPen all the while, all the while, doing what? Hearing the doctor say to you, wait, you you don't have a peanut allergy anymore. What happened? These things don't just disappear. Begin to hear that. Like I said, don't act a fool. Don't go out there eating nuts. I will never purport that. You know why I wouldn't? Because we're still highly undisciplined, some of us. The same way Dr. Joe Dispenza could lay in that hospital bed and fuse his broken vertebrae and fix them so he could walk out. Well, then, we can all do the same thing. We all have the same capacity. But until you get there, be wise with your allergies, especially, shrimp and peanuts. Don't muck about with that foolishness, right? But spend your time in your non flared up time hearing about your healing, watching healed people. That's my suggestion. And begin to get that sensation of what would it feel like? This is why Neville made it a point to ask you, what would it feel like? Most people would say, well, I don't know what it would feel like. I've never experienced it before. But that's where you start practicing. And Neville gave you all the simple steps to do it. He said, what would the closest person to you say? What would the busybody say? Who's going to be judging you? What are they going to say? Oh, now you know how it feels. Because we all have one of those in our lives, don't we? So there's no sense in standing there, tapping your foot and looking at the watch and saying, is it boiled yet? No, don't do that. Because then the image in your mind is no tea. That's the image in your mind. No tea. That's why the body is anxious. But if the image in your mind is tea, and you are fully engaged and immersed in the enjoyment of your tea, well then, the kettle boils. And it feels, well, like Lance says, that's the fastest 2 hours. That's the shortest 2 hours I've ever spent online. That's how it works. Not because I can bend time. No. Because your perspective. That is what it is. So pay attention to you and what you're doing and how you're behaving. Remember, every experience is there. It is. How are you going to interact with it? Well, that depends. How does your body feel? Then you know exactly how you will interact with the situation. If you don't know how your body feels, well, how did you interact with the situation? That'll tell you how your body felt about it. See, we're never stuck because every cause has its effect and every effect its cause. That's what it is. You hear something on the news and all of a sudden you are majorly polarized, either far left or far right. But you're polarized. Next thing you know, what happens? Well, it depends on the polarity. Is that polarity going to make you act a fool? But then you know which way you're polarized. It's a beautiful thing when you recognize polarity. If you ever have the privilege, I should say, hopefully not, of being in a crowded place, mob mentality, you can feel the polarity. You can feel the vibration because that's what it's telling you. You'll know, I'm going to get out of here because these people are dumb. They're going to do stupid things because you can feel it. Right? You can feel it in the air. That's the vibration. That's the vibe of where they are polarized because that is law. Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Everything vibrates. Nothing is standing still. It's either moving real fast and you can't see it, or it's moving really slow and you can't see it either, but it is moving. You can't get past that one. Everything is moving. Oh, sure, you're laying there fast asleep. Something is moving. the rise and fall of the chest, your heart, the blood in your veins. You are moving. However slow, yet you're moving. And you're moving from what? From where you are to where you want to be. This is the law of polarity. And it looks like those things, it looks like where you're moving from is different from where you're moving to, but it's not. They're the same. It is only the vibration that tells you what direction you're going in. That's how you can feel crazy in the air, or you can feel calm in the air, depending on how it feels, where it is polarized. And the way a thing moves from where it is to where it's going will always create a rhythm. The law of rhythm tells you the rate at which something is moving. You know, the way it swings in the poles. This is why you can count cards in Vegas, because you can count the rhythm from when you see that first ace of clubs until you see it again. Don't do that, because it will not end well. Don't count cards. I digress. High tide, low tide, full moon, quarter moon, half moon, all rhythm. You wake up with the sun, you go to bed with the moon. Circadian rhythm. You know, yeah, that's rhythm too. Because then you'll know what time signature that song is written in, because you'll be able to hear when this particular beat starts and when it starts again. Rhythm. But the rhythm will cause you to do something. And it will cause you to do what's all the way back there for vibration. Vibration. Can't forget about vibration. It's the vibration that will cause you to move through polarity in a particular rhythm. It will cause you to act. And when you act, well, every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. If you plant corn, you're only going to get corn. But the corn is determined by the vibration. That's how you know what you're going to get. It starts in the mind, and you feel it in your body. But then, last but not least, the law of gender. Not to be confused with man, woman, or boy, girl. It is simply a projection of your intent. What is it you plan to do? That is what you project outward. That is masculine. And it goes where? Well, some people call it the quantum field. Some people call it the subconscious mind. Either way, it has to be accepted somewhere. That is feminine. The thing that accepts, that's feminine. But remember causation, right? Every cause has its effect, but every effect its cause. So when you project and you get your experience back, your experience will cause you to act again. So this is why you have a rhythm. The way you live your life is in a very specific rhythm. That's what you do. And if I watch you long enough, I can tell you what it is. You can't hide it. You might not know you're doing it, but it is there. That's how we all live. So you see that first image you get? If I say, yo, mama, depending on the relationship you have with your mother, the sensation in your body will correspond. Hmm? And then when you know how I will know? The way you talk to me about your mother. And then I'll be able to tell you certain things about your behavior just by interpreting what you say about your mother. Because the way you speak about your mother, right? How that feels inside your body, that's what causes you to act. And here's what we do. If somebody behaves like your mother, they're not your mother, but they behave like your mother, you will treat them the way you treat your mother. How do you know that they behave like your mother? Because you're looking, that's why. And you just do it naturally. It's like if you have a particular food you can't stand, you'll be able to smell that thing before you get there. You say, why? Because it already has an association that you gave it. So that's why I tell you a watched pot never boils. You want to change your life. You can't complain about how long it's taking because then you are keenly aware of what's not there. And when you are aware of what's not there, that is a cause. And you will act a particular way based upon what's not there. This is why Neville Goddard can say, act as if you have it. Why would you do that? Because your body takes its direction from you. So if you tell your body, ooh, wait till we get home. I have a secret stash of candy hidden. Oh, well, you know where it is. Your heart begins to beat a little bit faster and you say, ooh. And all of a sudden, the bus has stopped and you're off. Or you pulled up in the driveway and you're home. And what did you start doing? You started to salivate as soon as you thought about that hidden stash. But now if you put a little bit of guilt in there, oh my God, I love it so much, but I feel like crap every time I eat it. And then you eat it and you feel like crap. What caused you to feel like crap? The guilt, the disgust with yourself causes you to act a particular way. But if that same, it's the same food, just a different perspective. Ooh, I can hardly wait to take a bite out of you, right? Now you act differently because the thing that you are keenly aware of will cause you to behave in a particular way. So if you look in that mirror and you judge what you see, oh, I'm so not good enough. Yes. How do you think you'll act out in the rest of the world? Mm-hmm. The way, the way you make me feel. That's how you're gonna act. When you look in the mirror and you say, "Oh, girl, you it's popping today. You're looking good." What are you gonna act like when you walk out that door? Mm, the shoulders are nice and firm and square, and you got a strut. See, I saw this video with this black girl. I have never seen skin as smooth as that. Have mercy. No, my sister has skin like that. But anyway, I digress. She had this big afro, and she was wearing these high-waisted shorts. They weren't indecent, and she was wearing these platform shoes and this a shirt. She was nice. There was a little bag in her hand, and of course, you know, slow motion, right? Slow motion for me. She was walking in slow motion. Every head turned. And they, of course, they saw the afro first, yes? But you think this Chiquita looked in the mirror and go, oh my God, I gotta go out in the world again? No, she did not, honey. Now, when she plumped up that afro and she cinched that belt and those heels were on and she grabbed that clutch and she walked out the door. She walked out in the world like she owned it. And so everybody was like, oh, who are you? So if you walk out that door with your shoulders slumped over, ain't nobody gonna see you. They're gonna run into you, but they ain't gonna see you. Hey, get out of my way. I'm walking here. That's what they're gonna say. And what will you say? Everybody's so rude. People aren't nice anymore. But because I sit here and say to you, I'm not saying to you that it's your fault. Come now. We don't fault, we don't blame, we don't judge, we acknowledge. So when I tell you that the way you're treated is simply based upon the way you feel, that's not a bad thing to hear it. Oh no. But of course, if I change my intent behind my words, you'll know. But when I say to you, listen, sweet darling, the way you are being treated simply has to do with how you feel about yourself. At first, your feathers will be ruffled a little bit and you'll say, how dare you? say that to me? You don't know the life I lived. How can you say that to me? You think I brought this on myself? You think I'd get up in the morning and want this to happen to me? That's perhaps what you'll say. But when I look at you and I say, tell me about yourself. Why do you feel that way? And you start to tell me. Now you'll understand. That's why you walk with your shoulders slunched over. That's why they use you to train the new ones and promote them and not you. Not because you can't do the job. That's not it at all. We already know you can do the job. You know that you can do the job. Your boss knows you can do the job. That's why he has you train them. But you have to, and there's a difference between being mad at the world, because when you're angry at the world, you're going to behave in a completely different way than if you were confident within yourself. If you're mad at the world, you say, you did this to me, well, I'll make you pay. That's anger. But if you now have the confidence to say, you know what? I am phenomenal at what I do. I am the best at what I do. And you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I'm a bad mamma jamma. I can do this. You walk into work and you say, hey, George. And George is looking at you like, she's never spoken a nice word to me before. And George will say, are you all right? Well, you must have got laid the night before. You're in a happy mood. George will treat you differently. Not because your hair is different. I got a new attitude. Your attitude has changed. And a funny thing happens when your attitude changes. Remember the law of vibration. You are now polarized in a different direction. You have moved yourself from woe is me to, oh, look, here I am, world. Here I am, baby. Come on and take me. That's what you said to yourself. You said, here I am. That's right. And you begin to behave in a different way. Do you see the difference between anger and rage? How that will cause you to behave as opposed to confidence and sureness of self? It is easy to do. Yes, Angela, sure it is. Because everybody in the world is doing it. The only reason why everybody's not doing it is because they believe that it is difficult to accomplish. But remember mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are your friends. I went to the grocery store yesterday to get some kombucha. The 1 point something liters of it, because I love it, right? So I go up to the customer service because I was not standing in line. Like, please. No, I am not standing in no long line, and I'm not going through self checkout either. I ain't gonna pay you to bag my stuff. No, I digress. I go up to the till and I said, oh, I just love to pay for these, please. And she takes them and she scans them. And she says to me, you're so like perky and happy. She goes, thanks. You just made me feel better. And as soon as she said that, I just said, oh, you're welcome. That's what I said. But in the back of my mind, I said, and there are mirror neurons at work. I swear, if you could read my mind, some days you'd think I'm nuts. My son says, don't think, mother. I know you are. Anyway, I said to myself, oh, look, mirror neurons. She was having a bad day. How will I know? She said, you made me feel better. That's what she said. Her mood didn't change, but she observed my mood. Thereby, her body released endorphins. So you don't have to be the one having a great day. But if you observe a good day being had, you and your body will respond with the same release of those happy hormones. That is the purpose of a mirror neuron. So it's telling you, you don't have to stand there and watch the pot. Begin to enjoy what's happening. You put the pot on in the first place for a reason. Enjoy that. Not that, oh God, is it done yet? Don't be persnickety and cranky about it. We are always going to encounter things and situations and people. Not always because we brought them there. But there's 8 billion people and vibrations are similar, and so they parallel each other. They run parallel to each other. But you have the power to override a situation. You have the power to override a situation by being aware of your behavior. Mm, Let me explain. If you say, because you meet somebody and you're like, "Ooh, who are you?" And you start to feel a particular way, you catch yourself and go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know this person. Slow your roll, baby. I don't know this person. I'm going to just go on with my day." And you move on. But if you meet that person and you've been having a conversation in your head and you've been arguing and you meet them, mhm, now it doesn't matter what they do, they're going to piss you off because you are already mad and upset. And next thing you know, hair is flying, fists are flying, somebody going to catch these hands. And then when it's all done, you go like, "Oh my God, I didn't even feel like myself." Oh. That's what happens to us when we allow our emotions to rule us. Understand this. If you are not the one to rule your emotions, somebody else will. It's called the news. Watch it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, not for a long time, but just watch it. Look at what you hear every time you go somewhere. Every time you go somewhere, there's something being said. "Oh my God, is the market going to crash like 2008?" Mm-hmm. So what happens? Fear is triggered, or anger, depending on what happened to you in 2008. But something is triggered, and you act according to what has been triggered within you. So you're not living here right now. You're living in 2008 because you're behaving the same way in 2008 as you are now. As opposed to, you can hear whatever you want because you're not hearing impaired or deaf. You can hear. Well, then listen. When you allow yourself to be polarized, which means when you allow somebody to get you worked up, they have you polarized if you respond. You can hear things, but you don't have to engage. I'm going to say something, don't come for me, but I'll say it anyway because I can. And I will say it because you've got to see the full picture and to get it so that you can change. We walk around every day, if you're a black person. Mm. You walk around every day. And we encounter Karens, don't we? Because allegedly, a Karen has a particular look. Mm-hmm, she does. Allegedly. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But how many of you have gone through your minds and said, if you try me today, you picked the wrong one. You've already planned out in your head what's going to happen if you meet a Karen. And so when you come across this Karen and she rubs you the wrong way, you say to yourself, "You see what I mean? Karens are everywhere." It's not that Karens aren't everywhere, but seek and ye shall find. This is what is happening. If you prepare yourself for war, well, then war becomes inevitable. You get up and you go to work every morning and you're complaining about something about work. How are you going to get along with your coworkers? Hmm? You're not, you haven't even given them an opportunity to be who they really are. Why not? Because they are responding to what you are. They are responding to you. So, however, you get up in the morning and you present yourself to the world, listen, you're not going to smile and be happy 24/7. You're not. Because there's an ebb and there is a flow. There is called rhythm. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Yes? But what do you know for sure? You know the law is there for sure. Right? That's what you know for sure. But what else do you know for sure? I'll give it I'll give you the image again from the Science Center because I love it so much. The toilet bowl display. It's not a toilet bowl. Well, it is. but it's just out of the box and it's been retrofitted as a water fountain. Mhm. And the sign says logic or emotion. It's a water fountain. You can actually drink from it because it says the water is clean. You can, but will you? Do you know why you won't? Because when you look at the toilet bowl and you see water fountain, you go, ew, gross. Like, that's nasty. That's what you'll say. Why? Because toilet bowl represents something to you. So, what other things in your life represent something to you so that when you go outside and you have that representation and you see it, you're going to act according to what is represented. So, are you living life now? Or are you reacting and responding to perceptions you already hold? And the funny thing about that is, some of the perspectives and perceptions aren't yours. They were given to you. You know, and you're so foolish. You're just like your mother. You're just like your father. Those perceptions were given to you. And so now you live your life based upon, oh my God, I'm just like my mother. And you live your life and you're angry because you hate being told that you're like your mother. And so when you look at yourself, you see your mother. I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying it's an example. Because I love my mother. She's cute. And she cooks real good. 4'9". That's my mommy. Little thing. Well, in height. I digress. But what is it? I had to listen. I had to get past my perception of my mother. Oh, indeed, I did. I had to get past it by understanding she did what she learned how to do. Just like I'm doing what I learned. How can I judge her? So I had to come to an understanding. I had to come to the understanding that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Everybody behaves according to what they were taught. So now I know, as Maya Angelou would say, when you know better, you do better. So I started to learn about perspectives. And then I understood my mother. I understood my mother. And because I understand my mother, I can now love my mother. That's all I'm saying. Now, there's some mothers, you can't even be in the same town as them, let alone country, and that's all right. But you still have to come to the understanding that your mother did what she learned how to do. And she can only repeat what she knows because you are also repeating what you know. So the question is this: are you living now? Or are you living from a memory? Anybody, you say, I always choose the same kind of man, or I always choose the same kind of woman. Oh, she's a gold digger. Yes, we say those things. But the woman in front of you, you're not allowing her to be who she actually is. You're judging her based upon past experience with other women and things you've heard about women, but never from one-on-one. Oh, sure, maybe you had an experience, but still, you're judging the woman, and us women, we do the same. We judge the man based upon who we've experienced. And how you know? Because you can pick up the signs, you can see the red flags. That means you're looking through the lens of the past. If you can see the red flags, you are looking through the lens of the past. That's what you're doing. So you're not giving him a fair shot, are you? No, because you can see his shortcomings. So you don't give him a chance. And then we say to ourselves, there are no good men in the world. Now my son is 14 and saying to me, Mother, why do people think that I'm a misogynist? And I'm like, dude, do you even know what that word means? He's like, no. I said, well, then hush. I'm like, it's a fancy word. I said, are you kind? Do you listen? Do you respect? Do you understand? Are you empathetic? He said, yeah. I said, well, then, are you disciplined? He goes, I'm learning how to be more disciplined, mother. I said, well, then that is what makes a man. The discipline. There's nothing worse than flying off the handle because you remember something that hurt you in the past. But that is how we live our lives. So today, don't judge your behavior, examine the behavior. And if you deem it unsavory, if you deem your behavior unsavory and you say, oh, but by golly, I don't like that about myself, so I'll change. Then you say that. Now you can change because you can see what you're doing and you're getting the same result from that behavior. And now you can say, because you're going to use polarity, where are you now and what are you doing? Where do you want to be and what would you prefer to be doing? And now you can build your new behavior from the old, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Instead of saying to yourself, oh my God, I'm never going to change. I make the same mistakes all the time. Your mistakes, if you want to call them that, are not there as a whip to beat you. No. Your mistakes are there to show you the behavior that you do habitually. Habit, same thing, same time, same way. A habit, rhythm. We're all creatures of habit. Your mistake is showing you your habit. And it's asking you, do you like this one or do you want a new one? And if you want a new one, then what is that new behavior? Do the new behavior the same way every time. And sooner or later, the old will fade into the distance. That's what you do. But you don't beat yourself and go, oh my God. No, don't do that. Well, how long is the change going to take? You're watching the pot. As long as you implement the change, it is done. So go about your life because you say you want to live a new life. Well, then you've got to do the new thing every day, all day. Well, you were tired of doing the old thing all day, every day. So now you got to do the new thing all day, every day. So you see, my beautiful friends, change. Change is not your enemy. Change is your biggest savior. Why is change your savior? Because you do not have to remain the same. Nothing can remain the same. The law of vibration clearly tells you that everything moves. And it's moving from to in a particular rhythm. So you have to change. But you see, we hold ourselves in a place of suspended animation. Well, how? We say, I want to change, but we don't do the new behavior. If we start the new behavior, we stop partway through and go, see, this is too hard. So we remain the same unnaturally. You are meant to change because it is law. You're meant to change. Anyway, I shan't hold you up any longer. My stomach just said to me, "Rawr." So I have to take my cue. It says girl. Anyhow, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here today. You know where to find me on YouTube to get the last remnants of gravy from the bowl, because that's where we'll always end things, because we play the bowl at the end over there. So if you want to be a part of that, you know where to find me, Positively Angela, on YouTube. Right? Yeah. So, Jeff Darling, Muck45, and Geck, thank you for being here on Twitter. I love you. I appreciate you. Yes, I do. Thank you for being here on Twitter. And I look forward to hearing from you. You know, whatever platform you follow me on, you can DM me there, right? And if you don't know what platforms I'm on, the link tree is in my bio. It says contact me. You can click in there and you can email me, right? Or you can join a membership on YouTube for 99 cents a month if you so desire, if you like the work we do here. Ooh, that reminds me, we have something coming up. YouTube members, you should know about it by now. It was a members only post because YouTube says you have members. Do a YouTube members only post. Or do a YouTube members only chat. I'm like, are you for real? So I have to do something like that. So you guys have a post over there for members. Patreon, you have one also. What are we starting? We're starting a meditation practice. I will not be guiding you. I cannot force you to get to know yourself, but I can arouse your curiosity to make you want to know yourself better. And that is what meditation is. So, over there, the whole point of this is this: to get to know yourself with meditation, you just sit there and you set a timer. Be honest with yourself, though. I'm going to sit here for half an hour, and you have the attention span of a cricket. Set the timer for the cricket. Okay? Just do that. Don't lie to yourself, because then when you fail, you'll feel bad and guilty and then do dumb things because you feel bad. So just be honest and say, you know what? I can commit 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. I can do that. Then that's where you start. And you do it every day. Yes. That's that's in the works. So you want to be a part of that? Jump on board and let's do it together. Right? Also, what else do I want to tell you? Mondays, we have Lance. We pick up Bible story. David, did you mention one for me this time around? Well, Marjorie, you are right. When you're frying right plantain, you have to keep your eye on them, especially depending on how ripe they are. Oh, they'll burn real quick because there's a lot of sugar in them, right? Oh, and the word is not plantain. All right, the word is plantain. I'm a Bajan. That's how we say it. Plantain. I digress. So yes, the name of my grandfather's bakery. Listen, David, my great grandfather is long gone from this realm, but he exists in the palms of my hands because mm, I don't know how to make a turnover if you're a Bajan. I don't know how to make jam puffs either. Those are Bajan things. But rock cake, I have a recipe for a rock cake. And listen to the word a rock cake. If I throw it at you, it'll render you unconscious. That's how hard it is. Why? Because you have to break it and dip it in your tea. That's a rock cake. Yes? That's what he used to make. And his my mother was telling me because she grew up with him, right? And people would come and buy a dozen loaves, 6 loaves of his bread. You could walk down the pine, and when you smell the baked bread at the bottom of the hill, you like follow your nose. That's what you do. And so I love baking. I do. I love baking, as Ayapo has discovered with the brownies. I had one yesterday, Ayapo, just so you know. I took it out of the freezer and I let it thaw. I did. I enjoyed it very much. So that's why, if you're struggling today, what is it that you want to do? What do you like doing? Do that. Do what you enjoy doing because it actually makes you feel real good. David, you know how to make salt bread? Yeah. Who's who's saying something to me? But that's it. I love salt bread. I might have a recipe for it. I have my grandmother's recipe book. So I might be able to see one in there for that. I love salt bread. Queen Redfield says to me, Sister Angela, I think you may have been slightly traumatized with that toilet bowl. You know what? I believe you might be right. It affected me in such a way, like it really did leave an impression. So it got me polarized. It had an emotional, visceral response in my body. And I was like, I really stood there with my mouth open and I said, what am I looking at? That is not a toilet. But it is actually, it's the bowl. And they have it retrofitted as a water fountain. Honest to God. Yeah, it left an impression on me for real. Like I'm like, what? And people are drinking from it. And I'm like, you can offer to pay me, honey. I ain't gonna do it. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But if you say I'm gonna buy you a house, perhaps I might. I might sip from that water fountain. But it's still a toilet. It really did mess with it was like pure raw cognitive dissonance. Like I'd never felt before. But I digress. But anywho, that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. You are beautiful, and I need you to know it. The well, Um, I'm just reading your note here, Azola. I'll talk to my mother. I'm sure I'll talk to my mother sometime today. And normally, how she teaches me how to cook something, we WhatsApp video, and she'll walk me through it. That's how I learned how to make sweet bread. She just walked me through it. I had my measuring cups out. She goes, measuring cups? I don't know those are measure things. Why? Because she's been doing it so long. You see what I tell you? We do what we know. That's where we live from. She's never going to make sweet bread in any other way. And she's not going to make cuckoo or flying fish in any other way either. And she knows when that cuckoo is done. Cuckoo is cornmeal and okra. And corn, you have to cook it. But the trick is, you can't let it burn. That is a skill. I've only ever done it once. And that's because she was on the phone with me, video chat. Only once. I've never done it again on my own because I'm insecure in making that dish. So I draw from her confidence because if I do what she tells me, I'll get it right. How do I know? Because I have faith in what she knows. You see what faith is? Faith is not believing in the unbelievable. Faith is believing in what you know and doing what you know. That is what faith is. This is the beauty of what we've been given. It is our strength, but it can also be a weakness if you are unaware of what you're doing. So if you're unaware and doing the same thing the same way every time and you don't change, well, now it's your weakness. But if you look at it and say, that's unacceptable. I don't want to be that anymore. Now you have said, oh, I will take the strength of creating habits and make a new one so I can be better. That's what you do. But you first must become aware. Didn't I say I was going? Man. Good morning, Keisha, darling. Oh, Queen Red Pill. I'm just getting back in here to read these things. She says, I've told men that if you come across a woman that hates her father, leave her alone. And if a woman comes across a man that hates his mother, run. But that's it. Why? Because you keep seeing them all the time because that's all you can see. And the way you treat your mama, the way you treat your daddy. Yes. My father was outside the other day. I said, I opened the door. I said, hey, daddy, what are you doing? And my friends, my son's friends heard me say daddy, and they're like, who's your mother talking to? My son's like, she's talking to her dad. She's been calling him daddy her whole life. But allegedly, daddy means something else in this day and age. What now? Daddy will always mean daddy, 5'3.5". That's my father. I call him daddy. You know, Hillary Banks. Daddy, can I have $300? That's me. That's my daddy. What else am I going to call him? Sure, I can say dad, but that sounds so weird to my ears. So I won't. You know, that's how it works. Anyway, that's what it is. So, Keisha, hello, darling. I'm just seeing you here in the chat. Hey, Shay Butter. I see the toilet has gotten to Shay Butter. And she says, ew. Look, y'all better go and enjoy your beautiful Friday. Pop over to YouTube because I'm going to play the bowl shortly, like right now. So, anyway, Twitter, I love you. Peace, Twitter. Twitter is closed. Fanbase, I love you. Thank you for being here. I do. So Keshna, and then Beautiful and Ephraim. Huh. Coach, Joyce, Night LKZ, Flow, Smiles, Miss McQueen, Summer Rose, Yolanda, Zola. Like, seriously, Summer Rose, it does not matter where I go as long as I see rose bushes. I sing Summer Rose every single time. Every time. It's embedded now. It'll never change. something's wrong with me or something. Anyway, I digress. I love you. Thank you for being here, fan base, and thank you for the love. Let me make sure I don't have any more DMs. Uh, no, we're good. Go ahead. Who's just jumped into the space? Hey, Keshna. Anyway, I love you, and I'll see you Monday, Monday. Pop over to Hear the Bowl on YouTube. Much love, fan base. Much, much, much love. Fan base is closed. Let me turn that down so I can get into the chat. All right, YouTube. Oh, Cyber, you like that? I used to love the Fresh Prince because Hillary was always my favorite. Like, Daddy, yeah, that was really, like, truly, yes. You know what, Cyber? You just brought me back to my grandmother because her favorite golden girl was Blanche. Well, I do declare. Well, Big Daddy, yes, Blanche. And so I would always do impersonations for my grandmother because she liked them. So that's where I learned how to do those. Anywho, let me pull up this bowl, y'all. Let me pull up this bowl. I love you.